Okay guys, long time no see since the last guide video, so figured I'd give you guys a tier list because the Apex servers are having a lot of issues. So without further ado, I'm going to be bringing you guys not only a tier list for all the weapons in Apex Legends Season 10.1, so this includes the L-Star nerf, but also we'll be dividing it up by ammo type. So, you know, we're going to have energy, shotgun, just sort of so you guys have a better idea of the way you can sort of upgrade your guns or build your paths or whatever, right? Like it's good to know these things. So without further ado, we're just gonna start off with energy ammo, because we actually talked about energy ammo when we were doing the solo queue to master in one stream, and there were some controversial takes, but these are my takes, and you might disagree or you might agree. If you do agree or disagree, just let me know in the comments, smash the like button or whatever, right? Like just make sure to let me know how wrong I am. So we're gonna start off with energy ammo. Obviously that's the Havoc, Devotion, Volt, L-Star. So energy has this issue that it's kind of like you have a turbocharger, which kind of makes a very specific dynamic. The L-Star and Volt doesn't have a turbocharger, which means you have to sort of value the Havoc and the Devotion both as Devotion with turbocharger and without it, because you can play a whole game without a turbocharger. I figured we should just start with the Devotion. Where does the Devotion go in the matters of like as a tier, whatever? I'm gonna put it in a D tier. This is with and without turbocharger. It's a D tier. Feel free to disagree. I'm just here to state the facts. and the reasoning is very simple. The Devotion absolutely shreds when it has a fully kitted, you know, we're talking stabilizer, turbocharger, all of these things. It's super expensive to build. But the thing is, it's not consistent damage. So even though you have a turbocharger on this thing, it still starts slowly and then starts shooting faster. So it works the same without a turbocharger, where it like shoots slow and then faster and faster. As with a turbocharger, it'll shoot slow and start faster and faster. But that means that you don't get the consistent burst damage at the start, and you will lose out to, let's just show you the best gun in the category. Is it the L-Star? It's the Havoc. That's an S tier right there, with or without turbocharger. But if you take a Devotion versus a Havoc, yeah, sure, the Devotion might have a higher RPM or DPS or whatever if you count all of the shots. But the first 10 or something bullets, the Havoc will win. Way higher initial damage, and you usually don't really stick out a fight and keep spraying someone. You usually beam them in 10 to 15 bullets, then it's over. So Havoc is up there with or without turbocharger. This thing is a beast. Without the turbocharger, you have to play a little bit smart, pre-fire it around corners or such, or pre-charge it rather, but it's still definitely an S tier to me. Devotion is still sitting comfortably in the D tier. Comparably, they're not even close. They're two different tiers, obviously, as you can see. That brings us to the L-Star. And the L-Star is, I feel like it's a bit hard to place. Before the patch, the 10.1 patch had a nerf to the L-Star, which kind of, I thought this would affect the ranking, so I actually gave this a few days to kind of play it out as we were doing the challenge. But I don't think the nerf was enough. This gun blinds you. It, you know, has a really easy to control spread. It has unlimited ammo. You don't need to reload. You know, just a lot of bonuses. Super easy to build. Extremely strong in early game. Like, it's strong all the way through the game, but early game you don't need any attachments. It's sort of like the first few iterations of the Wingman, like Season 1, Season 2. I'd put the L-Star on A tier. I was expecting it to drop down to maybe like a B tier, but I'm putting it on A tier because this thing shreds. And some might say, oh, it's as good as the Havoc. It's not. It's really good, but the Havoc just has a whole different level of consistency. That brings us to the last one in energy, which is the Volt. And the Volt is a little bit harder for me to place. It feels like a consistent gun. It doesn't have any gimmicks. It's not like a typical, because energy guns are special. They have gimmicks. The Havoc has the charge up, whatever, and it used to have like a select fire. The Devotion has the whole charge up turbo thing. The L-Star has the thing that it's blinding or projectiles and no mag, but the Volt doesn't really have a special place, so I'd put it either a B or C tier. I'll put it at a B tier just because it's a solid gun, but not because it's like, it doesn't have anything special. It has good DPS. If I'd have to pick them or build guns is the way I would do it. So obviously, to give reference, like let's say I find a Devotion and I want to build energy weapons, I would kind of like put stuff in Devotion, upgrade upwards to a Volt, and then maybe upgrade upwards to L-Star. Do this all the time if you're watching my stream over twitch.tv/Ottr or on my YouTube videos, actually. And the same goes for the Havoc, but I probably would not upgrade to the Havoc unless I have a turbocharger, because The L-Star is as good as it gets without a turbocharger, but the Havoc is as good as it gets with a turbocharger. So that's my opinion. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Light ammo. So we're gonna start off with a controversial one. Again, I just like to stir the pot when we get these started. We're gonna put the R99 at A tier. What? Yeah, it has a digital fret and shred super hard. It does. It's really good. I love it. It's a super nice gun, but it's close range. You can control the recoil. I can control the recoil pretty well, but it's just not as consistent as, that's right, the R301. The R301 is like the R9, a little bit worse close range, sure, but it has so much, it's so easy to control the recoil. It has so much consistency towards the mid to long range, especially if you throw a 2x or a 3x. You can even have like a 1x on this thing and it's still gonna do well on any range. So I think that R301 wins out in most engagements, which puts it at 1 tier above the R99. However, it's worth noting, like a notable mention, is that the R99 does have a digital fret. And this is a small thing to overlook. And we don't really have like a gas or smoke meta right now. Maybe like a bit of a gas meta. If everyone would be running like Bangalores or Caustics or something, and it's hard with target acquisition, maybe it would probably go up, you know, and actually compete with the carbine R301 in the S tier. But it isn't meta, so it's there. Super fun to use the R9 though. I probably use it more than the carbine, but it's still better. It's more flashy. That is what it is. The Scout, so we're gonna have a few marksman rifles here, and that's because I couldn't really figure out like a easy way to put this one here, so we're just gonna do it by ammo type. And the Scout, I'd have to say in the context of light guns, as a D tier. Let's put it on C. Yeah, let's put it on C. That feels better. The RE45 D tier, because it feels really weird to use. It's just that the handling isn't that good. The DPS isn't that good. It doesn't really have anything going for it. Maybe like the pistol move speed, but I don't think that warrants it getting its own, like, you know, it's not up here. It's all the way down here. So then P2020, where is the little old P shooter going? Well, obviously, if this was pre-patch, I think it was 10, I would say it was an F tier. Oh, this is kind of ruffle some feathers. It's a D tier to me. I feel like the RE45 and the P20 are comparable. Equally useless, but the DPS, I haven't done the math, but it feels about the same to shoot them. I have probably killed more people with the P20 than the RE45. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but that's what I think about light guns. Probably some controversial takes here, but that's what we do here. That is the way I build them as well. Obviously, always build upwards. Let's move on with this one. Shotguns. Shotguns in Apex Legends are really strong, especially for the mid to close range engagements. This game is very heavily favored towards close range. You have a certain amount of poke, you have a certain amount of mid-range engagements, but most of the time you will fight out. Even if you do a lot of poking with a long-range gun, you will be fighting, or the fights will always close range in a house or behind a cover, or, you know what I mean, right? So shotgun is very useful. I don't know why I'm going on a spiel, but I am. So let's get into it. Yeah, I was actually stalling for my sponsor. Code Ottr, guys, Advanced GG. So let's start with the easy one, just to give some range. EVA 8, S tier. So the EVA 8 does not have sort of like a corner peeking advantage like the Peacekeeper and Mastiff has, but it has an incredibly high RPM, DPS even. And it kind of just shines over the rest of them as far as consistent damage goes. I use this gun all the time. It is a little bit different to learn. You probably always want to, or you do always want to hip fire it, because ADSing with the EVA just doesn't make sense. It has the same spread with the ADS, or you hip fire, which means you want the movement speed. And it's just a really solid, consistent gun, unlike some of these other shotguns, like the infamous Peacekeeper, which is for 7, or Mastiff, which also hits for 4 damage. The only problem with the EVA, personally, is that like, you shoot a skinny legend, like a Lifeline or something, it will not do that much damage. So what's up next then? Peacekeeper. Ooh. It's a pretty solid gun. Like, I would probably put the Peacekeeper on like a B tier. Like, it's halfway to an A tier in my opinion, but I definitely feel like the Peacekeeper, while it has good poke abilities with the charge that comes per default now, corner peeking capabilities, I still feel like it kind of lacks that consistency that you need in a shotgun when you get up close and personal. Super satisfying to use. Is it good? That's why it gets a B. It's solid. Then we have a Mastiff, and I feel like this one suffers even more from consistency issues. A lot of it is just about getting close and aiming correctly. If you don't know how to use a Mastiff, you want to be up close and personal. You want to aim at the chest level, not the head, because the spread is a horizontal line, which means that if you use this shotgun, like, I don't know, I guess farther than a few meters away, it loses a lot of potency. I feel like it's a D tier. It's super inconsistent. especially with the way Apex's net code works. Against skinny legends, you might as well just punch him. We're talking, you shoot a lifeline with a Mastiff. She's a twig. Vertically, this thing shoots horizontally. You're going to do 7 to 14 damage a shot. Just not worth it. Unless you're up close and personal and you're basically licking her eyeballs. But at that point, you might as well do anything else. Definitely not a fan of the Mastiff. I'm putting it here. Oh, yeah. So then the Mozambique's an F tier, right? It's a C tier. I'd probably place it even higher, but I feel like it would probably be really weird with the Peacekeeper. But this gun is like generally better than the Mastiff. If I have to choose, I would probably choose the Mozambique more than the Mastiff. I feel like I pick up the Mastiff more than the Mozambique because I've been playing since season, 0. Like, this is the way it works. But the new Mozambique is actually good. It's like actually like a mini Mozambique. Like, it has a consistent damage, 45 a shot. I think it's 6 per mag, and with a purple bolt it fires faster. I want to say faster than the Eve at this point. You know what, let's put it on B tier. I want to put it on B tier. What are you gonna do, sue me? Go for it. Disagree in the comments, let me know. But I'm solid by this. There are no other lists that are as accurate as this one. Just really consistent guns, and that's what you need at the end of the day. Consistency over flashiness. Also, there's the BM factor of using a Mozambique and killing someone that just is unmatched. Then we got sniper rifles. This one is a bit short because there's only 3 sniper rifles. But I think my opinions on this one, I feel like people will disagree with what I think about sniper rifles. This is actually something that I had a conversation with Pierre. He plays on former Virtus Pro. I think they're flavor of the month now, or unless they get signed with someone. They are very notorious for their kind of sniper style, running scouts, longbows, whatever. Like, they just want to take position and snipe people. Super annoying to play against, but it's their style. It works, and it's very notable. So this is going to be really hard to place in a tier list format because we only got 3 of them. But I'm gonna say that the charge rifle, it used to be S tier. The charge rifle, ever since it came out season 3, has had good range. You put a 48 or a 6x, you can beam people from across the map, build armor, get picks, consistent damage and such. Once again, the consistency is what makes it shine. But because of the nerf not too long ago, I don't remember when, its effective range has been kind of like slashed, like really hard. If you use the charge rifle, you kind of don't want to go farther than like a 3x or 2 to 4x, because using a 6x, 4 to 10 or like a 4 to 8, it doesn't actually do full damage. It has a pretty, like, I don't even know how much, I think halves your damage at a certain range. In any case, it feels like you're shooting them with Peace. Like, you're better off shooting them, sniping them with a P20. So I feel like the charge rifle maybe is like a B tier to me. Like, normally I would love to place it higher in the sense of competitive or whatever, just for poking. It's higher because of its consistent damage, but it's a sniper rifle. You're supposed to be shooting from really far. We're talking hundreds of meters, 500 to a kilometer away. You can't do that because of the nerf. So it's all the way down here on B tier. And then you might go, all right, so then naturally, then it's the Sentinel that's A tier, right? Obviously, it's a longbow. No, the Sentinel's A tier. So the Sentinel has one amazing benefit, chat. It has very good ammo to damage consistency, efficiency. You can, especially thanks to the quick draw, you can put out a lot of damage for, it's a little bit difficult to use it with the quick draw, but the point is, one shot gives you like 70 damage if it's not a headshot. You can charge it up. I don't do that as a waste of shield cells, but I could give even more damage per shot. If you want to farm a lot of damage, if you want to work with as little resources as possible, I see the Sentinel being a high choice. That is a prime choice if you want to get damage. But while one point of snipers is to, like I said, farm damage, it's not really like you should be farming damage all the time. There's 2 parts, or there's 3 parts of what you want to do with snipers. You want to farm damage, you want to get kills, so picks, or you want to deny ground. Sentinel does 2 of those, but it does not net you picks. Why is that, you might ask? Because you shoot a round and you chamber another. In the time you chamber around, your opponent will have ducked behind cover somewhere. And you might say, oh yeah, there's the quick draw, but you still need to charge up the quick draw before you can use it to its full potential. And I'm speaking as someone who has used the quick draw and Sentinel a lot. It still does not have the same, as I want to, taking this out of PS mouth, the knock ability, which the longbow excels at as the S tier gun. The longbow has the highest knock ability in the game. I think it's about 100 and something for a headshot, but a body shot is 68. They buffed it recently, which I was surprised, because this list has basically been the same to me. The charge rifle has been higher in the tier list for a while, but because of the nerfs, it's gotten jumped down. But this has been my personal tier list when it comes to sniper for the last few seasons, and seeing them buff the longbow recently made me very confused. But it's Respawn, and they probably don't have the data to support this. What longbow does differently is the knock ability. And the knock ability basically means that if I catch a dude out of cover and I have a longbow, my odds of getting that guy knocked and killed are way higher, significantly higher than with the Sentinel or the charge rifle, because you can shoot a shot and then shoot again and again, and you got like what, 12 bullets in a mag. You can just keep going until they're dead, and they don't have time to duck as with the Sentinel, and there isn't really like a fall off as with the charge rifle, so you have way more, you can like sort of hold them down better. Also, it has a better ammo efficiency than the charge rifle because that one uses 2 per shot. Fun fact. Also does more damage, I think. I might be wrong. So then we got 2 more ammo types. So heavy. So let's start with numero uno. Oh my god, I don't even know where to start. They blend in so well. The Prowler. The Prowler is kind of bad early game. You need a mag for it to be good because 4 bursts aren't enough. When you get a purple mag, this thing is really good, which means that it's pretty expensive to upgrade. I guess what past the blue mag is really strong. And it's infamous for its strength in hip firing. If you're a controller player and such, it's a really strong gun. It has a really high DPS. It's only burst now. It used to have automatic, but it's still probably an A tier to me, I want to say. I would make it an S tier if it wasn't for how expensive it is to build. You pick this thing up, you're putting yourself at a huge risk because you can't really 4 burst people. It doesn't have a lot of efficiency mid-range. Yeah, you can have, I usually throw 2x on mine, but it's kind of difficult to control, and it's super strong close range, but you need some versatility if it's a good gun, so I cannot put it in the S tier because of its lack of versatility. I do think when it had the automatic mode, it had a little bit more range, because I feel like the burst kicks more than the automatic does, but now that we're stuck on only burst, and yeah, not as good. So what would I place above that? What about the repeater? Absolutely not. That's probably all the way down in D tier. Would I make it an F tier? This gun isn't even worth it to be on this list. I hate the 30-30. Damage efficiency, doesn't have it. Hip fire, atrocious. Upgrade, like if you have what, 3 item slots, it's a marksman gun as well, so you can't even upgrade it. It barely, all it can do is basically hold your heavy mag in your sight. It's super awful. So that's definitely an F tier for me. I've never liked this gun and I never will. The charge up is a useless niche that I don't think anyone really finds any use for it at all. So what else we got then? Speaking of weird niches, we got the Rampage. This one is controversial, chat, because a lot of people say, oh, the Rampage is so bad, it sucks, it makes it so bad. I'm gonna have to put it, this is like bridging S tier, or like S plus, or like A plus. Like, it's up here. And you might wonder, why, Ottr? Why is this such a highly rated gun when everyone says how bad it is? The Rampage has this weird problem where it feels like it no-ranks a lot. It feels terrible to shoot it, unless you have a Thermite. If you have a Thermite in the Rampage, I would easily classify this as an S tier, but I'll put it an A. Because needing to use an item, just like with the Sentinel, imagine if you could only get kills with the Sentinel if you use the charge up with the cells. It would be really bad. Now, the cells actually stack better than the Rampage, so let's say, I think a proper Rampage loadout is like, what, 3 stacks of heavy ammo and then 3 to 4 stacks of Thermites. It's too expensive to run or consistently run this gun, and when you don't have a Thermite, it's virtually useless. Any gun is better. I'd probably say the Repeater is better, but when you have a Thermite, I feel like it's holding up towards like a Havoc or an L-Star. It shreds. It's so good. Normally I run this like to mid game and then switch it out towards the late game because I need better loot. So Flatline. Ooh, this one is rough. I want to put this up with the Rampage and with the Prowler because of its consistency, but I do feel like it's lost a little bit. It's a little bit lower in the DPS, so I have to put it on B tier. It's definitely bridging towards the A, but it's not really there. We're talking mag size, it's triumphed by the Rampage. DPS kind of triumphed by the Prowler. Consistency, pretty good, but those 2 things are holding it back. So the Flatline is an easy B tier for me, and I want to say that it feels really weird to play it after I've been getting used to these 2 guns because they're just that much better. Definitely the type of gun that you can pick up and you can beam on mid-range or long range or whatever. It's a bit of a sleeper pick, if you want to say. The Hemlock was touched in season 10.1. It's been getting a lot of buffs, a lot of nerfs. It's really jumped all over the place. It has the new boosted loader attachment. It has actually received a pretty significant buff to the hipfire, and I haven't really played enough with the Hemlock to place it somewhere. Before the hipfire buff, I would put it in a D tier because the iron sights are awful, and the hipfire, it felt like, you know, you're taking a pee. You're doing the, after done the D, you're going to take a pee, right? It's just going everywhere. It just does not hit anything. However, because of this hipfire buff, it's almost as good as a Prowler hipfiring, but even at a longer range. It has a better long range control thanks to the stabilizer and better sights and whatnot. So I will have to put it in A tier, honestly. It's a bit difficult to control a burst weapon. I understand that, but if you do master it, there's definitely a reward in it for you. So yeah, no, these definitely go hand in hand, thanks to that one buff. I haven't even used it to boost the loader yet. I haven't even built this properly. And then finally, we are looking at the wingman. This one is a bit difficult because the wingman requires a lot of skill to run. If you are very skilled, it's very good. I'm not entirely sure about the numbers here, but I'd probably say that a wingman in the right hands, any gun where you hit every single shot is going to be OP. The wingman, you can have a total of like, what, 12 shots with the boosted loader in a mag? And if you hit all those 12, you'll be a god. Then again, a flatline is 30. If you hit all 30, you'll be a god. Point being, in the right hands, this has, the thing is that makes this, the wingman special and actually very different from the rest of these guns is that the wingman has high like movement. You can move a lot with it. You can kind of be very versatile. You can ADS, you can hip fire, you can jump around. It's very efficient in ammo, so you can poke. It's just very difficult to control if you don't have the aim for it. So it will actually have to go in the A tier for me, honestly. This is a hard one. I feel bad about putting the flatline in the dirt. I don't know what you guys think in the comments, but absolutely the wingman has to go up there. It's like a worthy mention of a sort. I put it in S tier, but it's too difficult to use it, I think, for the normal person to warrant going any higher than A. Man, what a list. What a list. As I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, damn. And then finally, we're looking at heirloom guns. If you are an OG, you will know the triple take as an energy gun. You will know the Spitfire as a heavy gun. You would know the alternator as a light gun. It didn't have to be an OG, this like a season ago, but a triple take was a sniper and then an energy, so you really gotta know. The Kraber has sort of always been in the care package, and I hope it never leaves that because that would be broken, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's look at these guns. The triple take. So let's start out with this gun. I feel like I've slept on it. It has very high poke ability, knock ability. It has a lot of bullets, actually. I was really surprised. It just does not run out of bullets. Normally, when you pick up a sniper from the care package, you would expect it to, because care package guns generally feel like they don't have enough ammunition, but the triple take definitely lasts for a long time. Probably too long, so I'm gonna put it in the A tier for heirloom weapons. As with the Spitfire was already super broken. Then they buffed it even more, put it in the care package. This thing shreds, super high DPS, massive mag size, lots of ammo. It slows you, stuns you. It's super OP. It has to go into the S tier. If I see a Spitfire, I will drop anything else I have to pick it up because it's just so good, so consistent, easy control. Kraber is difficult to use. Having a one-shot kill weapon is infinitely valuable. The pros want to remove this from the game because of how strong it is, or rather they want to remove it from competitive play. But I definitely feel like the Kraber, it has to go in the A tier simply because of how difficult it is to use. If you hit someone with a body shot, it will stop them, make them go into cover, but it doesn't kill them. And you gotta reload. You usually can't really follow up on a body shot. However, a headshot will give you an opening to jump into the other team, dive them, and kill them. The Kraber has 12 bullets, which is very little, which is kind of what I was talking about with the triple take, in the sense that you have up to 12 potential openings in the team fight, but because of how difficult it is to use this gun, it has an incredibly slow bullet velocity. It only goes into A tier. Otherwise, it would easy S tier for what it can do, but it's a little bit like the wingman situation all over again. So lastly, we have the alternator. And okay, alternator, B tier, C tier. Everyone told me when I was doing my grind to master, go pick up the alternator, In season 2, this thing was easily S++ tier. This thing was overpowered as hell. Now, I don't like it anymore. I just don't like how it feels. This might be my personal preference more so than an objective opinion or truth. But I stick by that. I would not use the alternator over any other gun in the game, especially not actually I'll lower it then, especially not the other legendary guns. I've actually had lots of random skip on it as well. It doesn't feel good to use it. It's good to shave armor off of people, but honestly, every gun is for sure. And once you've taken the armor away, it loses a lot of its, well, it's a niche gun, right? It's only meant to destroy armor, so once they have been cracked, you can't really clean up that well with it. It does not feel good at all. C tier. Anyways, yeah, that's my list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comments once again what you guys think about this tier list. Is there anything you disagree with? Is there anything you agree with? Also, like and dislike in the comments or wherever. Just make sure to interact with the video because this took a while to film. Also, while I've got you, make sure to check out this video and this video. They are really good, both of them. Cherry picked by me, and the YouTube algorithm. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.